Let me tell you a story about a man with a strange complexion. He killed a lot of folks and he made a love connection. By day, he had a girl who baked him homemade breads. By night, he roamed the streets and he ripped off people's heads. This is the legend. He's the legend. The legend of the Toxic Avenger.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Dolls of Horror podcast. I'm Summer.
And I'm Jamie.
Today, we have a very special guest to talk to, Mr. Lloyd Kaufman of Trauma.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Lloyd. We so appreciate it, and it's such an honor.
Well, thank you for recognizing 50 years of trauma art.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. And I do have to get a little poetic for a minute and just say Trauma was a huge part of my kind of movie journey as a teenager when I was discovering what films I was kind of into and what I liked. Trauma was kind of an aha moment of movies for me. So really, really excited to have you on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So we always kind of like.
Where are you? Where are you broadcasting from?
I am in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm in Chicago.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always kind of like to start by kind of asking our guests a little bit about their horror journey. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of got into horror movies.
Well, I'm not really an expert on horror movies. Trauma is more of a potpourri or a Cuisinart of genres.
Sure.
And our main wheelhouse is satire, but we mix all the genres together. And the trauma technique, or the trauma touch, as it's called, started back in the 60s when I was at Yale University, and I happened to get put in a room. My roommate the freshman year was a movie nut, and he ran the Yale Film Society, Robert Edelstein, and we made a couple of feature-length movies together at Yale, and then I basically got hooked by going to the Yale Film Society and starting to look at movies. And it so happens that Roger Corman was one of the auteur directors that they showed. Usually it was John Ford and Howard Hawks and Jean Renoir and Orson Welles and Stan Brakhage and blah, blah, blah. But Corman movies were beautiful, and they showed that you could have a good script and good acting and make a good movie for a modest or low budget. So at some point, I had the opportunity my senior year to take a job in California on a big Barbra Streisand movie called The Owl and the Pussycat, or take a job with a shitty little company in New York called Canon, independent company. And thanks to my good friend LSD, I decided to stay in New York and be an auteur filmmaker, to be in charge of my movies if I could make them, if I would get to make them, and take the job with the crappy little movie company. So I really didn't. I wasn't that expert on horror. I still am not expert on horror films. It's more comedy, really, that I'm interested. Although perhaps you wouldn't know it from Poultry Guys Night of the Chicken Dead.
Well, for a lot of us horror fans, we find a lot of comedy in the horror, and stuff that some people find appalling we are laughing at.
Oh, yeah.
And we're saying things like jump on the body and
yeah, you're right.
Load that head.
Yeah,
now,
true. That's true.
Jamie, do you remember your first Trauma movie?
Oh, yeah. So my first Trauma movie was actually Tromeo and Juliet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is a favorite of mine.
That's a good gateway film, I think. It's rather romantic, and has a lot of Shakespeare in it, and the great James Gunn wrote the script. So one of many great talents who sprang from the loins of Trauma Entertainment over 47 years.
Yeah, mine was also Tromeo and Juliet when I was younger also, and then Witchcraft Part 5.
How did you happen to see Tromeo and Juliet? Well, Witchcraft stars the great Julie Strain, and if you
Yeah.
want to,
Mhm.
she produced, if I remember, Julie Strain's Tales from the Crapper, which is
Yep.
on. I think it's definitely on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's come to no, it's definitely on DVD. Not sure if it's come to Blu-ray yet, but Oliver Stones has a part in that, who I also
Yep.
discovered, and all sorts of great people in that. It's not a very good movie, but Tales from the Crapper is a lot of fun, and Julie Strain
It
is
is.
great. She's great in it, and her husband at the time, Kevin Eastman, and Trey Parker, Sam Raimi, all
Yeah.
sorts of James Gunn. There are all sorts of people in that movie.
There really are. Yeah.
Totally. It's a
Yeah.
great one.
Well, it was a failed. We had to get rid of the first set of director and crew and everything, and then the second set. And then I asked friends of ours who were, you know, well known if they could help bail out this mess. So we have a lot of well-known people in the film, but the second group of
Mhm.
people that I assigned to make the movie who worked for Troma, they also thought it was just a party and took a lot of drugs and booze and made another mess. So
Yeah.
there's a documentary if it's on the DVD
Oh,
documentary called "The Thin Brown" or "The Thick Brown Line" about the making of Tales from the Crapper, and it's kind of a sad cautionary tale because you can see in it that I'm sort of serious, but all these young, mainly young dudes who were on that one, just didn't get it. And
Yeah.
stupid me, I didn't have enough guts to get rid of them earlier in the game.
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I've always loved your guys' documentaries and kind of the making of featurettes and the videos and DVDs. I actually really love Terra Firma because it felt like a little glimpse into trauma, which is a world I always wanted to see myself.
Yeah, that's a crazy. Great. I think that's the craziest film I've done, except for perhaps hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, which is a new one. But
Yes.
Gabe Friedman is very funny on the Terra Firma documentary. He was our supervising editor, but he was on the set a lot, and we somehow managed to. Our main location for Terra Firma was right underneath one of the airport runway, not runways, but approaches to Kennedy Airport or LaGuardia Airport. So we had, and we had a train right on the border of the property. So every few minutes a train would come by, and there were these, freight trains that take a half hour to go by and all that.
Jamie knows all about that because we have trains in the background of our podcast all the time
All
Yeah,
the time.
from her end.
well, that's an atmosphere kind of a
Exactly.
Woody Guthrie, Arlo Guthrie kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you make movies, Jamie and Summer?
No,
No.
just enjoy them. But Summer has had a
Yeah.
little experience.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'm more on the acting side of it. I just got to do my first film project last November. Thank goodness before COVID happened.
Yeah, what was
Mhm.
that?
It's called Crave. At least right now, it's called Crave. I don't know if they are going to change it, but it's about aliens. And then I got killed, and it was really, really fantastic. It was a great experience. Everyone was lovely, and I had a great time.
Great. Terrific.
And I'm from the theater, so I'd never
Ah.
done film
Oh, wow.
ever, and so it was very different. It was very scary, but I'm
Sure.
really excited, and it made me want to do more, really, because I don't have time for theater, but
Mhm.
because it takes so much rehearsal time and 6 shows a week and everything, but I could do film. I realize that now, so that was very neat.
They're both very different, aren't they?
They are so
Yeah.
so
And
so
both
different.
difficult. Both difficult in their way. Film, because most people don't shoot in sequence. I
Hmm.
do. I, for the most part, shoot in sequence, but
Really.
yeah, because we don't shoot union, so I don't have to.
Sure.
If I have people hanging around for between Monday and Friday, I don't have to pay them. If I'm just using them Monday and Friday, if the union, you have to pay those folks.
Right.
So
Sure.
I can kind of have people living on the location, and if God forbid there's a problem, I can turn on a dime, as they
Hmm.
say.
Yep.
Sure.
And, but the hard part about movies is they're shot out of sequence, so the actors have to be able to know where they were in the script because they're shooting the beginning at the end of the shooting schedule, or
Right.
they start with the middle of the schedule and then go to the beginning.
You got to know
Right.
your emotional level on
Yes,
tension
Sure,
and,
yeah.
everything.
yeah, it's
For
not
real.
easy. It's definitely not easy, and
No, it's
also
not.
you have to remember your marks, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
if you're going to see, I'm blocking the
The
top.
light.
Yeah, you can't. You have to. There's a lot of, and I can understand why some of these actors, movie stars, are temperamental. It's they're
Hmm.
like
Sure.
race horses.
It's true.
Yeah.
Jamie, you told me that Shakespeare Shitstorm was premiering today, was it?
Is that right, Lloyd?
Well, tonight, which is the 5th of December, Saturday at 8:30, it'll be on the New York Horror Film Festival, which is the best slot at 8:30 on Saturdays. Very nice.
Yeah. You can't beat
Very-
that. Can
yeah.
you tell us a little bit about the movie, Lloyd?
Well, hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm is based on my favorite Shakespearean play, which is The Tempest, and we spent a year or so writing it. Brandon Bassam wrote the script with a little help from Gabe Friedman, who, as I mentioned before, he wrote Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, and was until a few years ago our supervising editor. Shakespeare, Gabe and Shakespeare and I wrote the story. Then Brandon wrote a really good script. And Brandon also has 2 movies on Troma Now. And if you could mention Troma Now on your website,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
a streaming service, and it's the main reason we're able to keep paying our staff during this COVID horrible Troma horror film that we're living in.
Yes,
Uh,
I was a subscriber for a while, and then
oh,
I had to cancel it because we fell on hard financial times
no,
too. But
I'm
also,
sorry.
yeah, it's happening to everyone. But also, I just didn't have time to
Yeah,
watch. So I'm like, I'll pick this up again when I have time to dedicate to it.
but it was great, right? The movies are just like 1,000 different
Oh,
movies and
yeah.
shorts,
So many options.
and
Yes. I
all the
asked for Christmas to to
oh,
get it. So
good. The documentaries are all there too. Our feature length documentaries about the making of Poultrygeist and Return to Newcomb High. Those 2 movies. There's a documentary about that. Feature length. There's all sorts of stuff. Tromette pictures,
Yeah, I
music
live for
videos.
behind the scenes featurettes and documentaries. I
Oh, yeah.
buy all the DVDs and physical media in hopes of getting features.
Cool. Well, if
So
you'd like, if you and Jamie would like a super secret private link, if you can't watch New York Horror Festival, I can send you a link to Shakespeare Shitstorm, private link if you'd like it.
we
I
Just
would
would
love
love it.
that would be
it.
great. Email me and
Yeah,
Yeah.
or email Tom or
right.
whatever you got there, and let's do it. And maybe you can find a theater when in your area. There is a theater in Tucson that has played us. I think it's the Loft. Is that?
Yes, the Loft Cinema. They're great. I was actually going to talk to them about this podcast episode and see if they wanted to share it. So, yeah, they are definitely our theater for Troma movies.
Our theaters are still closed.
Yeah, well, they have to be, but
Yeah.
the Loft is a nice one. I haven't. They haven't played any of our movies for a long time, so maybe it's time, or maybe they're just playing the vassals of the big company, Fox Searchlight and Sundance and those things. So, but if they actually, the lady who owns it visited us here in New York once, and
Oh, really?
and we used to see her at Cannes. I can't quite remember her name, but they're very nice couple, very nice people.
Yeah.
But I think they have a program director who's a little more snotty. But what can you do?
Sure.
Maybe you can convince them. Maybe you could
I'm
convince
going to work on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm is better than 90% of the stuff they're showing. Certainly has a lot more intellectual value. And I'll come out there and we could have a Q&A and you all could curate it and we'd have a good time. You could also get a agent's fee for setting up the show. And then you could resubscribe to Troma Now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to resubscribe in
Well,
the
don't
near
worry,
future.
don't worry. I'm just kidding around. But
I had a lot of fun with it. I just didn't have
Oh,
time
yeah.
for it.
if you could please mention it on your or put it up on your website.
Yes, of
Watch.
course.
You go to watch.troma.com, and as I say, we're paying our staff, which is more than Disney and the
Yep.
vassals of the media cartel are doing. So
It's true.
Yeah.
help us out. We're the last independent studio of any history, so
Yeah.
we need to. We don't want to go away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it going.
Troma's the herpes of the movie industry.
It's not going anywhere.
We don't exactly. We refuse to go away.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about it, and you guys being around independent for almost 50 years,
Yeah.
with the volume of work that you've done, with the talent that you guys have had in your films that have gone on to do other amazing things too. That's so impressive. What's kind of the magic sauce of Troma? How do you guys keep doing this for 50 years?
Monster.
Monster.
Beverage. No. Actually, that's probably not the healthiest thing, but it
Yeah.
tastes great. Tastes great, and it kind of wakes me up. I think the key is we love movies. Michael Hurst, my partner of almost 50 years. This, by the way, is my 50th year of making feature-length movies.
Awesome.
And the first movie I made was at Yale, and actually more than 50 years ago. And then the first 35 millimeter movie is on Troma now. Sugar Cookies with Mary Warrenov and Lynn Lowry and
I love Mary Warrenov. Mary and Paul are my favorite.
Well, check that out, because it was my version of, well, Ted Gershony is the director. We wrote it together, but we wanted to do a modern day Vertigo, and it's a lesbian version of Hitchcock's, what I think is best. Well, not his best, but a lot of people think it's the greatest film ever made, Vertigo.
Yeah.
And it sure is one of the best. And anyway, Sugar Cookies is not quite in that category, but it's definitely an interesting lesbianic take on Vertigo, and it's a very good in the fullness of time. It's very underappreciated, as are a lot of the films that worked on early in the day.
Absolutely.
You should see Cry Uncle also. If you haven't seen Cry Uncle,
I have not.
I haven't seen that one.
It's directed by John G. Avildsen, who went on to do Rocky and Karate Kid and stuff like that. And Cry Uncle's hilarious, and it's an example of how he was able to take kind of a crappy script and make it into a hilarious, one-of-a-kind movie. And it was in the top 50 in its day, in 1970. He also 71 maybe. And Avildsen made another good one called Joe, which we don't distribute. Cry Uncle is on Troma now, and I swear, if you see it, you'll be glad. It's hilarious, and it's Paul Sorvino's first movie, among other things.
Oh,
really
cool.
But Avildsen was sort of my mentor and a very good friend, and unfortunately, he died this past year. And he's one of the many people. He's one of 4 people who croaked during the year we were making hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. So there are four people to whom we have dedicated hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. John G. Avildsen, Terry Jones, Stan Lee, and my wicked stepmother, all of whom were great people and passed away. So when you ladies get old, you'll see your friends and mentors going one by one to that great editing room in the sky.
Yeah, well, my mentors are already so much older. It's already started to happen, unfortunately, So, yeah, I always hung out with older people too. So I'm like, I didn't even like kids when I was one. All my friends were like 20 years older than me.
Yep.
I'm an old person, but I prefer hanging out with young people. That's kind of interesting.
It's a balance.
Exactly.
They're much more alive. So interesting.
Yeah, so one of my favorite parts of Troma is the great practical effects. I was wondering if you had a favorite Troma practical effect that you guys have done.
Well, they're actually fairly impractical effects because they always take too goddamn long. And even though, one lesson for you filmmakers is when you're going to make a movie, test all your special effects ahead of time. And what we do when we're filming is we film the rehearsals in a studio or a rehearsal room. Then we film all we film the rehearsals on location. So essentially, we film the whole movie ahead of time, and then we go to the 35 millimeter or Alexa, or now we shoot with Alexa cameras.
Mhm.
But what's really important is to get the special effects proven to you, the director, before you start filming, because otherwise you're going to be sitting around with 80 people watching this poor bastard trying to hook up a tube with blood
Mhm.
spurting, and his hands will be trembling, and then I'll be yelling at him, or somebody else, the director will. And I saw this. I was in a movie, a Stephen King movie, and the director had worked for us, so he gave me a cameo. But I saw this happen. This was a big time movie with Samuel Jackson and John Cusack and some other
Oh.
stars. And
1408.
Oh.
uh, no, it wasn't. It was
Was it?
the Cell,
The
and
Cell. That was.
yeah,
Oh.
not the Cell with Vincent D'Onofrio, who
Right.
also he also began. Boy, you all know movies.
I read the book, the Stephen
Oh,
King Cell book, and I
oh, you
can't wait
did.
to see the movie.
Well, it came out okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think the fans are kind of okay with it. I think it's sort of like the Mother's Day. My brother made a movie which Troma distributes called Mother's Day,
Yep.
which is Eli Roth's favorite
Yeah.
I
horror
read
film.
that. Hmm.
Oh, good, good.
Yep.
And he, at any rate, like Mother's Day, the fans, the remake of Mother's Day, the fans were okay with it, but usually the original is better, and the original, my brother's version, was much better. But the Cell was pretty good, and but I do remember there was when I was on set, there was a special effects guy who was trying. There was a huge much bigger than a Troma crew, and they were all standing around watching this guy try to make the thing work. And I make the special effects people film their special effects ahead of time, so I know it's
Mhm.
going to work. And even then, we have problems with
Sure.
Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead. I didn't push hard enough, and the climactic, gigantic chicken Indian zombie looks kind of like a goofy minor bird instead of a huge, scary raptor type thing. And it happened again because I'm too nice. I did the same thing. The climactic monster in Return to Nukem High and Return to
Mhm.
Nukem High, a two-part movie that we made, which you ought to see also because there's a great documentary that goes with those two movies, Return to Nukem High, Two Girls, One Duck, and it's fabulous. It's a great
Love it.
documentary. You should see it. I swear those documentaries are as good as a year of $80,000 a year film school. Not that I have any problem with film school,
Right.
it's just very expensive.
Sure.
And these documentaries we've made, I swear they're as good as a full year of film school because you see the truth, the unvarnished
Hmm.
truth of just how tough it is to make a Troma movie, and
Yeah.
things that can definitely go wrong. And we have fist fights and people proposing marriage to each other, and me being a total douche. And it's a real journey of truth, truth and love. Hashtag truth
Yes.
and love, which is sort of the conclusion I've come to after 75 miserable years of making movies.
That's really great advice for filmmakers.
It is.
So thank you.
Well, I think just in life, there's so few people. I mean, obviously, you all are trying to figure out life, and you're got a good. You're not afraid to question what's going on, but most people don't do that. They just blob along, and
True.
it's a pity. But the people who do try to figure it out are the kind of people that you want to be in touch with. And I think that it kind of boils down to hashtag truth and love. And so many people in the movie industry don't tell the truth, and they end up failures. They end up without anything accomplished other than maybe they get some big salaries from the studios, and but they don't have any real satisfaction other than maybe they can drive around in a Rolls Royce they don't own, or have plenty of
Sure.
cocaine or hookers or a house that is very impressive, but when you get down to it, what the hell,
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jamie, it looks like we have time for maybe one more question. What's most
Okay, great.
burning on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this earlier, Summer. Is there anything that Trauma has not done yet that you would like to do, Lloyd?
Well, that's a very good question, and thank you for asking it. Well, I would like to do a real musical. I have a great love for the great Broadway musical. There's one called Pal Joey.
I love it. That's
I don't know
Fosse.
that one.
It's a Fosse show.
Oh, she loves her musicals.
Oh well, Rogers and Hart music. Pal Joey is based on a short story by John O'Hara. Very dark, and the movie was not good, but
It wasn't my favorite. No.
the show is great, and the actual Broadway show, which I've seen, I've seen revivals. It's before my time, and it's wonderful. It's dark and kind of funny, and but I doubt very much that Richard Rogers. The Lorenz Hart might have given me permission. He was manic depressive, but Richard Rogers, I can't imagine would his estate not going to.
Right.
So I don't know. In fact, I'm looking for something unusual, and unfortunately, most of the scripts that are sent to me are kind of lizard goes into the nuclear waste and comes out whatever. I've done that. I don't need to do a script that I could write. I can write my own. But
Right.
I would do a rom-com. I do anything that's one of a kind, anything original, and I would like to do more with the characters. Most of my movies have thousands of people in them, and the characters are more cartoon characters because I can't write anything else than that. But if somebody out there has something that's more character driven, but that's 100% original and different and unusual and risky, I'm not looking to make money at the age of 75. I'm a dirty Jew, so I'm happy to make money, but it's not my primary concern. I came out of Yale and a white privileged bourgeois family that gave me a pretty good education and. Trauma, I've been able to keep my kids clean and out of jail. And so anything that's original and exciting and different and above all entertaining would be great. If it's a bit satirical, that would be great. But, I'll do anything. I'll do a tragedy, just something. So
Yeah.
if any of your fans out there have something, or if there's a theater piece, by the way, did you see the Toxic Avenger musical? I think it played in both of your towns.
I wish I could have seen it. I know songs from it. I was in a musical theater group, and we actually sang "My Big French Boyfriend." I think is the song.
Yes, My Big French Boyfriend. You sang that?
Yeah, we sang that. We had a Halloween kind of show, so we did a bunch of songs from different things, but that was one of them that we sang. So I'm familiar with the soundtrack.
Oh, terrific! It's a great musical. I can't take credit. I can take credit for none of it. But David Bryan of Bon Jovi and Joe DiPietro, both of whom won Tonys for Memphis, and they have a new show called Diana, about Princess Diana.
Oh,
And if you want to see the musical of Toxic Avenger, I think it's BroadwayVideo.com or Broadway.com or Broadway. I don't know. There's a website that has a lot of musicals on it and Broadway shows. And the musical is it opened in the West End in London, and we went to see it. And then the guy in the audience was a filmmaker, so he made a movie based on he filmed the musical in London, and it's terrific. He did a great job.
awesome.
I think he had 6 cameras, so you get all the close-ups for the funny lyrics, and some of which you miss in the theater.
Right.
And
It's all
Broadway,
happening so fast in person.
Yeah.
well, also you can't hear it in the theater very hard. The Broadway theater was too big, in my opinion. So
Right.
a lot of it's a very funny musical. If you have a chance, you'll have a good time. You should check it out. In fact, the movie premiered the musical. The movie of the musical premiered in Chicago at. Do you ever go to C2E2? I think it's called. It's a big convention in Chicago.
Not usually. It's so massive. It gives me anxiety.
No, it's a
It's
lot of it's a good,
insane.
definitely a
Wow.
lot of fun, and they premiered that movie there
Did
a
they?
couple of years.
When was
Yeah,
that?
the year
Cool.
before COVID,
Oh wow. Okay.
and it was very
Yeah.
well received. They had about 1,000 people. They have one big room, and it looked great on a big screen. I've only seen it on the big screen, but it's definitely good to see on what it's BroadwaySomething.com. Anyway, you'll find it. You just type
Yeah, I'll
in
search it.
I
Google.
have to. Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna be great.
The songs are great. The songs I've heard are fantastic.
Yeah, they really are fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yes, there's great songs. I mean, really clever, and the tunes, you go out whistling the tunes, and there are only five. It's really a clever. A lot of high schools have been putting it on because they're only
Really?
and summer stock. There are only five. It requires only five individuals, and they play multiple parts. But
Right.
it's brilliantly created. So I don't want to be a spoiler, but the fact that the show becomes much more charming with the actors playing different parts. It works beautifully. It's very
I
good.
love that.
Now, as that is written, do they stick to their own gender, or do they go back and forth like Greater Tuna did, where like their men are playing women and women are playing men? It's like everything, or is it?
Yeah, they go. Let's see. Hold on. Yes, they do go back and forth.
I love
Nice.
Gender, but that isn't a big deal. That's kind of a smaller item.
Yeah.
There's one showstopper which involves Toxie's mother and also the mayor of Tromaville, which I don't want to say anything more, but it always gets a standing ovation, and it's very fun. It's great, and it's on every level, technically, the lyrics, all of it, the staging. It's wonderful, clever, and funny, and satirical. Smart.
Mhm.
Very good.
I can't
Do you
wait.
all have? Do you have?
Yeah.
Summer? Do you have a favorite musical? Or?
I think Chicago is up there, Rocky
Yeah.
Horror, and I really love Guys and Dolls.
Yeah, Guys and Dolls.
So
Amazing.
I go all ranges of the spectrum.
Well, they're all
And I
great.
always prefer like the stage version to a movie version.
I agree.
So
I think you're right.
Yeah.
right, especially the stage version of Rocky Horror. They had different
Oh,
songs. They changed the order of the songs for the movie, and yeah, I really geek
so
out. My
fun.
favorite recording of that is the Roxy cast from I don't remember. It came out right after the London cast, the original.
The Roxy, which Roxy in L.A.
Uh
Or
huh.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's my favorite
Rainbow,
cast recording of Rocky Horror. But I
Remy, and
love Chicago, the musical, so much. I'm a Fosse girl, so
well, that's a
Chicago, Cabaret, Sweet Charity,
Hmm.
love them all. But I mean, I really love me some Guys and Dolls. I love those songs so much. They're so schmaltzy, but I love them.
oh, they're great.
Yeah.
Adelaide's Lament is one of the great songs of all time in Broadway movies,
I
Broadway shows,
I
right?
sang that
Yeah.
to my husband once when he was
Oh,
just my boyfriend. I was telling Jamie because
yeah.
I was sick with a cold for literally like 3 months and I wasn't getting any better, and I've been waiting for years for him to ask him to marry me. I said, "This is all your fault." And this is why.
So, sue me. What can you sue me? I
Yep.
Right.
love you. That is honestly, that is one of the all-time great moments on Broadway stage, I would say.
Yeah.
And how about you,
Mhm.
Jamie? Any musicals that come to mind that you love?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I love Little Shop of Horrors, the musical version of that.
That's a great one.
Really fun. I like the original movie too.
Yes,
But
yes.
I also really love the Really Modern Millie. I really like. I actually really like West Side Story a
Oh, yeah,
lot.
sure, sure. How's the new version? Somebody made a new. Who shot? There's a new version, a movie, I think.
Really, I have not seen that.
I haven't either.
Some major director too, like
Oh wow.
Spielberg or somebody. I forget, but there's a new one being made. In fact, I think obviously in New York. I hope.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be funny if it was
I
somewhere
know,
else, but
right?
it's in the desert or something. Yeah.
Here in Tucson. What
Yeah.
about you, Lloyd? Do you have a favorite musical?
Well, I think Pal Joey probably my favorite,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I'm big on the Boys from Syracuse and
Uh-huh.
I like Rogers and Hart. It's a. I mean, Rogers and Hammerstein are also dark and brilliant, but Rogers and Hart was wittier, I thought. But just what you said, and almost when I was a kid, I went to see every musical. Even the bad ones, they always had a great song, like the Tenderloin. I think was one with the I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball, and there's one good, at least one good song in there.
Yes.
Hey, look me over, and Subways Are for Sleeping was a huge musical. That big. I think it was the next one. After My Fair Lady, no, after West Side Story, Carol Lawrence, I think.
Oh.
And Subways Are for Sleeping, and it's very good, but it didn't do well. And the same with Camelot. Camelot came
Right.
out after My Fair Lady, and it's witty as fuck, and it's terrific. It's just the critics missed it. It did not get great reviews, but it ran for quite a while, and it's one. The songs are great. And the movie is very good too, I think.
I like the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't had the opportunity to see that one live, so the movie's all I have.
No.
Yeah, well, the movie's very good, and the book is Once and Future King is a lot of fun too. But the play and the movie with Lancelot as a narcissist and the Julie Andrews, the Queen, being kind of she likes the idea of knights bashing their heads together to get the privilege of taking her to the fair. Or if they'll, chop up their opponent, she'll be very happy to go to the fair with them. And it's still really delightful stuff. And I'll tell you, the songs in Poultry Guys, Night of the Chicken Dead.
Yeah.
People don't. The people who listen to a lot of people don't like. I think the majority of young people do not like musicals. So I'm happy.
It's true.
I'm so happy to talk to you about that.
I grew up with them. I love musicals. Yeah.
I fell in love with musical theater when I was 14 years old, and I never looked back. I went straight, my playlist is all big band and Broadway after that.
Oh wow! How did that happen? Were you folks into musicals?
No, not really. I was taken to see a show, which was actually Guys and Dolls, and maybe that's why I love it so much. But I was already gearing a little bit towards the arts. I was a figure skater and a dancer.
Wow!
So, right.
Wow.
So I was already kind of leaning that way, away from popular media and popular songs and top 40 stuff. I think I was only listening to it because it was cool and not because I actually liked it, really. But when I saw Guys and Dolls for the first time live with the actors right in front of me at the Melodrama Musical Theater in Bakersfield, California, guys, 1998.
Wow.
Okay. I was awestruck. And after that, I wanted all theater all the time. I did. It was just like done. Done. And then I even started doing the figure skating routines to Broadway show tunes.
Wow.
The best of both worlds.
I'm telling you, I incorporated everything, and I still primarily only listen to Broadway show tunes.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, even though that was like 23 years ago, now, still.
Well, great. They're so witty, and even the new ones. That one with there's based on the movie with the Tom somebody or other, Hanks or the other Tom, about the flim flam man who wrote a lot of bad checks.
The Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, it's got great. It's very amusing.
It has a good music in it.
Yeah, their songs are quite pleasant. Now, what about Prom, Jamie? Did you happen to see that or listen to the music? It got great reviews.
No.
There's a movie that I think has been made based on Prom that is just coming out now. I didn't particularly care for the music. I don't quite get why the critics loved it so much, but it has, it's got a lesbianic theme to it. So the Times, New York Times would, of course, love it. They're very open to that. So,
for sure.
I don't see what was so. Again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But
anyway, I haven't seen it either. I'll have to give it a watch.
Again, the lyrics don't seem very clever, and the music doesn't. It's the Toxic Avenger music. The tunes are so enjoyable. They
are.
Go out singing it. Do you have any favorites, Jamie, in terms of musicals?
In terms of musicals in general?
Yeah.
I really love West Side Story. I really, really love. It's hard to pick a favorite song. But I
Yeah.
was a singer when I was younger. I was in choir, so I really liked when we sang like songs from musicals over more kind of traditional, like straightforward, kind
Uh-huh.
of boring choir music. I loved when we got to sing the musicals. So
Mm,
West Side Story is a favorite of mine. Little Shop of Horrors. The Really Modern Millie. I'm trying to think. Chicago, I really love.
great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you two meet to do a podcast? That's interesting.
Instagram.
The internet.
Oh, wow. That's great.
This 2020 year,
Yeah.
I started a horror movie Instagram. She invited me to come talk about a horror movie on her podcast,
As a
and here I
guest.
am. Yeah, as a
Mhm.
guest, here I
No,
am,
that's
like
great.
2 months later.
All right.
Permanent installment.
Hey,
Yeah.
terrific. The gift of the gift of internet. It's nice,
Right?
Yeah.
nice to know there's an upside.
Right? I know.
Yeah, and that's really also the upside of the COVID era in 2020. While it is horrific what's going on and just
Mm,
heartbreaking and sad, people are now forced to do things a different way. So I have been able to take ballet lessons from a New York City ballerina and also one in Utah that I've always loved because now they're streaming them. And I never would have
wow.
been able to do that
Oh,
ever.
terrific. That's
So
That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
it's
Yeah.
given us a few more opportunities because people have had to make a workaround
hmm hmm
until we can do things as we used to do them again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is a bright side, and the same thing with Jamie and her new Instagram account for horror, dedicated to horror. I mean,
Oh,
she posted a little video of herself talking about horror, and I said, "You're cute as a button. I love your energy.
oh, that's
Do you want
great.
to be a guest?" And she's like, "Oh my God, yes."
Well, send me a link. I would love to follow. My Instagram just
Oh,
got I had a 37 or close to 40,000 followers, and it got deactivated because
Yeah.
I saw.
some
I
kind of
posted that video that
it's
you
very
sent too.
unfair. But what
Yeah.
it's the terms keep changing. Community standards. They kicked our channel off YouTube too because of community standards, and we've had the same. You know, we had about 500 free movies there, and then one day they kick us off. And but the fans went crazy, and YouTube reinstated the channel. But my partner
Oh.
Michael Hers took all the movies down, and
Yeah.
they're all on Troma now. The free Troma Movies channel has a lot of opinion pieces and short documentary and lessons, make your own damn movie lessons. But all the movies are on Troma. Not all of them, but we put up about 15 new exclusive movies every month on Troma now. And I hope we can put up the musical one of these days because it's very good.
Yeah.
I would love that so
Yeah,
much.
Me too.
so much fun. Well, talk to the loft and talk to hey the
I
music
will.
box. The music box has also been giving us the hi hat for quite a while in Chicago,
Yeah.
and we haven't had a movie there for a couple of years. So I'd be happy to once the COVID trauma movie that
Right.
we're living in ends.
Yes.
I could go to Chicago, and I go to E2 to E2. We take a booth at E232 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could go
Joe,
there and
our mutual friend Joe told me about that too.
who Joe? Which Joe? Oh,
Wrote
Joe Randazzo.
uh-huh. The
Yeah,
one who
yeah.
gave us the
Oh, how cool! Yeah, he's a good
shout out
guy.
to Joe, man. Thank you,
Yeah.
Joe,
Thanks,
for this
Joe.
Yeah,
introduction because
Joe
this
is
is a dream. This is
wonderful.
amazing.
A talent. He also is a talented filmmaker
He is.
and has done a lot to encourage trauma. And
Yeah.
he's in. You will see him in hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm. You'll see Joe Randazzo as
Shut
well
up.
as Shanta, his beloved, both in that movie. And I think Shanta had a baby shortly after being in that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I work with Shanta for I believe it's the same Shanta
Mhm.
for a television program they do out here.
Oh,
That,
great.
yeah,
Cool.
that I'm helping to produce. So if it's as long as it's the same one, and that's an unusual name, so I'm pretty
Yeah, I'm
sure.
sure it is. Unless
Yeah.
well, sometimes you get confused at Christmas with Santa Claus, but other than that, Other than that, I'm sure it's the same Shankar.
Right.
Sure.
And she's just lovely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
Joe,
you all are lovely.
Oh,
thank
right
you.
back at you, Lloyd. This has
Thank
been
you.
such a treat to talk to you, really.
Well, I
Yes.
probably should go but have another
Yeah.
interview. But if
I'm
you
sorry
wanted
we
to,
ran over, but thank you
no,
so
no,
much.
it's I had a great time, and I was really loved talking about Broadway musicals. We should do a whole segment on musicals and Broadway and movie musicals. La La Land, I thought was. Did you like that? I loved that.
Yeah,
It-
I thought that was great.
For me, it didn't click. I
No
mean,
kidding.
maybe I need to see it again. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the mood or something, but it wasn't my favorite.
Oh,
So maybe it's me.
check it out again because
Right.
just that opening scene. My wife
Oh,
and
yeah.
I liked the opening scene, but like
Yeah.
Opening
as
is
it went
great.
on, I was finding myself like looking at my phone instead of being completely engaged.
Oh, wow, interesting. Huh?
So
Yeah,
maybe it was just me. I don't know.
well, give it
Give it
another.
another shot.
Right.
It's easy to find, and we
Yeah, oh,
went
yeah.
to see it in the movie theater, and then we went the next day to see it again. We just were so knocked out by it. It was really
Yeah.
beautiful. And,
Yeah.
Well, we'd
next-
love to do that musical episode with you anytime, Lloyd.
Anytime.
Anytime.
and if you notice, most of the Troma movies do have some singing and or
Yes.
dancing in pretty much everyone, even back to Squeeze Play. Actually, Battle of Love's Return has a bit of dancing. But yeah, it has quite a bit of dancing, actually. In
Yeah.
fact, there's a whole ballet scene in Battle of Love's Return. Speaking
I'm
of
in.
ballet, and Jacques D'Amboise, I don't know if you know him. He was one of Balanchine's favorite dancers during the 50s, 60s, 70s. Well, I guess 60s and 70s when
Okay.
Suzanne Farrell was going and all that.
Mhm.
And he choreographed a dance scene in Stuck on You, a dance on the roof. And I did a lot of work for him. He has the National Dance Institute, which he started about 40 years ago, to get children, especially boys, interested in ballet, so they wouldn't think
Nice.
of it as some kind of a
Right.
homosexual activity. That
Right.
he wanted them to think of it as athletics rather than
And oh, it
something
is.
else. And it is.
Yeah.
It's it couldn't be more masculine. It's terrific.
Right.
And
You
it's
can't be a
wonderful.
wuss
Yeah,
and do ballet.
beautiful. Absolutely, it's the best.
No.
So I've got, oddly enough, even though my movies are rather base and disgusting and shocking, and they're very the real person who's been educated like you all will get them. But it's
Yeah.
amazing how many critics who don't get it because they have no background. They're
Mhm.
critics only because they can't make movies, and they haven't even seen a lot of movies. They don't
Right.
even they don't even see Samuel Fuller or Fritz Lang or John Ford or Howard Hawks or Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton heavily informing my movies. They miss it. And unfortunately, a lot of people do not like singing and dancing on film, especially in a movie that has head crushings. And by the way, you asked me what's a favorite practical effect. I think the head crushing that we did in Toxic Avenger, because Michael Hers saved. He got impatient with the traditional way of creating a very expensive head cast and then crushing it. Michael just said he was yelling at people, "Get him! Just get a melon and carve it up. Put some crap in it. Put a wig on it, and then we put a happy face on the melon, and we've been doing that ever since. And now head crushing a melon with
It's
a
our
head crushing
favorite
big deal.
thing.
I was gonna say that's actually one of my favorite trauma effects. So
Or any effect
I love
ever.
the head
Whenever there's
crushing.
like a decapitation or a crushed head, we're all about it.
Well, very good. Trauma pioneered the on-camera crushed head, which had heretofore been prohibited, and it's still sort of prohibited. But the melon with a wig and a happy face, it's got to be a cantaloupe because it's more flexible.
Uh-huh.
And
See, we need to know these things.
Yes.
everybody's doing it now. Spielberg, I think's got one in the new West Side Story, and no, not
So,
true. Not
Lloyd,
true.
real quick. So watch, is it watch.trauma.com?
Yes, to get if you want
Okay.
to join. People have gotten dates on Trauma now, but
Oh.
it's a very nice community for visionary people, and
Eh.
you'll have a good time there without a doubt.
And what is your new
Awesome.
Instagram handle so people can find you now?
At Uncle Lloyd.
At Uncle Lloyd.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So
But
guys,
I'm-
follow at Uncle Lloyd and go to watchtraumanow.com. Okay.
Well, thanks. And I answer all my Twitter and, and so if you have any more questions, if
Thank
anybody,
you.
any of your fans has questions, at Lloyd Kaufman on Twitter, I do my own Twitter.
So you do that personally,
fabulous.
so they know they're talking to you, not some
Yes.
agent.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Thank
Indeed.
you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lloyd. It's a true honor for both of us. Thank you so much.
Well,
I hope we
Uncle,
can do this again. And I
really
really
do.
appreciate your time, for real.
well, if you're in New York after the COVID horror, please come and visit the Trauma Building. You meet some nice young people, idealistic
Girl,
like
we gotta
like
go.
It's been a
yourselves. Who,
dream.
yeah, well, we get a lot of tourists in the summer. Come on by, and you'll find some very nice young people who are idealistic and truly love and know a lot about movies. You know, we can have long discussion, real discussions because
Yeah.
they've seen everything. Michael Hers too, my partner. He's quiet,
Yeah.
but he has seen every movie ever made, and going back into time, we, we both were. I was born in 1945, so my base is different. Kind of back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Sort of the things that hit me hard.
Yeah. Thank you,
Alrighty.
Lloyd. You
Well,
have a
thank
wonderful
you.
evening and you stay
You
safe,
too.
okay?
And
Yeah.
Merry Toxmas, and I hope I see you all soon. And thanks
Very
so much.
Merry Talkmas.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye,
Sonia and
Lloyd.
Jamie. Nice to see
Bye,
you.
Lloyd. Nice
Very
to see you
nice.
too.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you. Bye.